Good evening and welcome to a conversation with the Mutts. I'm Mutt.
And I'm Mrs. Mutt.
And tonight we are going to discuss the horses of Assateague. So there has been some debate about the horses of Assateague for generations, that they were actually Spanish horses that swam ashore in the late 1600s, but yet there's no proof. The prevailing thought now is that these were horses that were put on the island by landowners on the mainland to avoid a ridiculously high grazing tax. And that's how the horses got over there. Now, I will say that I'm a bit of a romantic, so I tend to lean towards the Spanish shipwreck of the Greyhound, which was the name of the ship that did actually sink.
Well, actually, I came across another theory.
What's that?
Others attribute the arrival of the horses by pirates drawn to the island who ultimately abandoned the animals.
I haven't heard that, but it is
I
possible.
came across that one in some of my research.
Huh. That would make sense too, though.
If you remember right, in some of our mutual research, we did come across where they found the tooth.
Yeah,
the fossilized tooth. And that was showed the Spanish ancestry.
Yeah. There's nothing saying that they weren't originally Spanish horses.
Right.
Well, by Englishmen from Spain,
right.
Spanish horse salesmen.
Pardon the background noise, ladies and gentlemen. Lord knows what the kittens are getting themselves into.
Yes. Anyone who wants a cat, we've got 3 left that we are willing to part with. Yes, to part with. With that said, we will not ship them. They are ridiculously expensive to ship them, so you would have to come get them.
Well, that, and you can't put them on a plane to ship them.
You can't that's true. You can't put them on a plane anymore. Yep. But anyway, do you know why they do the pony penning on Assateague and swim them over to Chincoteague?
I don't necessarily. I'm assuming they shipped them over to Chincoteague because Chincoteague. Pardon me. Hello, my northern roots are showing. I can't help it.
Kind of like that. Never mind.
Because it's Chincoteague Volunteer Fire Department who owns and manages the Virginia herd. And the reason that they auction them off is because only approximately 150 adult animals are actually allowed on the island.
That is true.
On the Virginia side.
Right.
Now, as far as the Maryland side, there are approximately 78 in that herd.
There's only 78 in the
That's what I
Maryland?
came across.
Huh. I know that I know that the Virginia side has an estimated 150 at any given time.
Right, and that's adult animals, so that's not including the colt
and the foals.
Right.
Yeah. Now, I've around 150 adult ponies and 60 to 70 foals are rounded up from the Assateague Island for the Chincoteague pony penning.
I agree. My theory with that is they may have taken them out into the water, got on the back, and waited for the animal to calm down before they rode them out back onto the land. Max says he would love to have seen the first North American Indian jump on and ride a horse.
Yeah,
I know that
it would not have been an Assateague. It probably would have been.
But I know that was at least one method that the natives used was to take a horse into the water.
Yes.
Get on the back, let the animal adjust to them in the water. There was more resistance in the water. They were safer if they fell off the horse in the water.
It was less strain on the horses. It was also less stress and strain on the horse. And it also tended to tire the horse out much quicker because it's fighting the resistance of the water.
Exactly.
I will say that the horses of Assateague are their own individualized, recognized breed.
Yes.
They are one of, it did not give me an exact number, but it said several feral or partially feral horse breeds that are in this country.
Now, they call them, in some people call them wild, but officially they're considered feral.
Yes.
The difference being wild means they were never domesticated. Feral means they were domesticated at one point and went back to being wild. So these were domesticated animals at one point.
First generation.
Right, the first generation.
Yes.
And then over time, generation by generation, have gone back to being wild.
Yes.
So that is how what the difference between what the wild Mustangs, for example,
right,
and the feral horses of Chincoteague or Assateague Island are.
Yep.
Now the horses actually, they're split into two main herds. Like we said, there's one on the Virginia side and one on the Maryland side.
Now let me cut you off there for a minute, dear. You'll find that a number of our barrier islands, Chincoteague is not the only one that shares ownership, air quotes here, ownership between states. For example, Knott's Island is, half of the island is in North Carolina and half of it is in Virginia. A lot of that, and the reason I'm pointing that out is because you'll hear us reference that quite often throughout this chat. A lot of that stemmed from the Civil War and how things were settled out during the Civil War. But yeah, Maryland owns they own the larger part of the island, but the smaller herd.
Right.
Which I think is ironic.
Now, the like I said, the herds are separated by a fence on the Virginia-Maryland state line. These herds have divided themselves into bands of 2 to 12 animals, and each band occupies a home range.
Yes.
The National Park Service manages the Maryland.
Yes.
And like I said, there's approximately 78 horses in the Maryland herd.
Yeah.
The Chincoteague Volunteer Fire Company owns and manages the Virginia herd.
Yes.
Which is allowed to graze on the Chincoteague National Wildlife Refuge, even though, again, it's managed by Chincoteague Volunteer Fire Company through a special use permit issued by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service.
Yep.
The permit is what restricts the size of the herd to approximately 150 adult animals in order to protect the natural resources of the wildlife refuge.
Yes.
It is the Virginia herd that is often referred to as the Chincoteague ponies.
Yes.
Now, these ponies, their diet consists mainly of marsh and dune grasses. Their water comes from freshwater ponds located across the island. They are true horses and not actually ponies.
Yep.
Who have adapted to the diet and life on Assateague. That being said, from what I understand,
yep,
when someone buys these ponies, when someone gets one at the auction, they look very stocky.
Yes.
They take them home, and after a while of being fed normal, quote unquote, normal horse feed, they start slimming down.
Because of the sodium in it's the sodium in their
what they've been
their natural
on
diet.
The island.
Yes. Yeah, I think I mentioned that last
week.
Right.
I think you told me that.
Yeah, it is the sodium in their diets that causes them to bloat up a little bit. And once they go back to eating regular horse feed, they do thin out. They are adapted to their environment. Assateague horses or ponies, whichever you choose,
right,
tend to be a bit more. They tend to be shorter than an average horse. They are not the same. They don't tend to run as many hands high.
Somewhere in here, and forgive me, I don't want to scroll through right now. I actually have the difference between how many hands a pony is and how many hands a horse is.
Yeah.
Now they said that during the winter, their coats become quite thick to protect them from the harsh winds.
They do.
Their short, stocky builds allow them to navigate the marshes and store water efficiently.
Yes.
I found this interesting. Did you know that the horse's eyes do not reflect light at night?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they don't. So that makes them very difficult to see in the dark.
Well, I guess it's a good thing nobody's allowed on the island after dark.
Yeah. So if you're driving out of the park and it's starting to get dark, you better be really careful.
Generally speaking, that they close the park at sunset, so that's, especially in the summertime, that's not likely to happen. But yeah, you would have to be extremely careful because they don't reflect, their eyes don't, as you said. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't either. This I thought was very interesting. It makes me want to get a hold of one of these. I guess it's a series of books, but I guess the most famous pony is Misty of Chincoteague.
I had a copy of that.
Yeah, it says many visitors first learn about the Assateague horses from Marguerite Henry's famous book, Misty of Chincoteague.
Remember, we watched one of the videos,
right? I saw
and
that.
The young man and the captain.
Said that
the captain said that he had gone to school. That Margaret had been in his class.
Oh, I didn't remember that, but I remember a girl going into a museum or something,
and she mentioned the horse.
And she remembered reading that.
I had a copy of Misty of Chincoteague at one point. As a kid.
It says the story takes place during a traditional Chincoteague festival called the Pony Penning. On the last Wednesday of July, the Virginia herd of horses. Oh, we've got several other comments. Starling said hello.
Hello, Starling. I will say that this in 2 weeks, the third week of July, will be the 99th pony penning this year. This year's pony penning will be probably the washer.
Oh. I forgot that was running.
Yeah, we're washing blankets tonight, and I think one of them might have been silent.
Might be a little off balance,
but I think it kicked back around. I think that's what we're hearing. But yeah, the 99th annual pony roundup, swim, and auction will take place in 2024.
Yes, on the last Wednesday of July, the Virginia herd of horses is rounded up and swam. This said swam. From Assateague Island to nearby Chincoteague Island. On the following day, so they swim them from the island on Wednesday. On Thursday, most of the young foals are auctioned off. Proceeds from the sale benefit the Chincoteague Volunteer Fire Department. And then I actually have, if anyone's interested, I have links in my notes for the exact dates of the pony pennings. And just if you can't stand crowds, you may not want to go.
Yep.
Each year, tens of thousands of spectators come to watch the saltwater cowboys. Those are the folks that actually round them up and swim them over.
Did you know that most of the saltwater cowboys are actually firefighters from the?
I had a feeling they might.
They're firefighters from the.
Chincoteague Volunteer Firefighter?
The Chincoteague Volunteer Fire Department. Yes, I started to say the.
They actually swim the pony herd from Assateague Island to Chincoteague Island.
And the whole swim, for those of you who are worried about these horses swimming, the whole swim takes approximately.
I agree, Captain Starling. It would be awesome to watch, but I'm not up for dealing with tens of thousands of people.
I watched the pony, Captain Starling. I watched it on a 65-inch screen the other day. It is something to see. I'm not going to go watch it in person. The Chincoteague Island. You have to understand there are no, and I'm jumping ahead here with some of my information. There are no year-round residents on Assateague, and Chincoteague Island is so small. I'll give you the exact dimensions in a little bit.
And the population.
Yeah, Chincoteague, the island has a land area of only 24.4 square miles. Okay, and that's Assateague, actually. No, that's Chincoteague. Assateague is 37 miles. And the larger portion of that is in Maryland. And they only have, as of 2022, a population of 3,300 people. So if you can imagine going from 3,300 people
to tens of thousands,
to hundreds, in some cases, of thousands. No.
Yeah, if you want to go, make your reservations years in advance.
Yes. You could not go. You can't go to next year's and get a room. It's already booked, guaranteed. This is a 2-lane road, folks. This literally
one way in and one way out.
Yes, it's a 2-lane road. Going from
don't plan on going to the running of the swimming of the ponies and then leaving that night. You're staying at least one more night.
At least, yes, probably. It's probably smarter to say 2 more nights.
I did get a little bit into the history, and I'll discuss that a little bit later. I know you got into some of the history.
Yes, I did.
Now, we should have started out with a little disclaimer. Just like any wild animal.
Yes.
Assateague's horses are beautiful, tough, and wild. They have learned to survive in a harsh environment. Feeding and or petting them is detrimental to both visitors and horses.
As we witness.
Horses can get sick from human food.
Yep.
Those that learn to come up to the road to beg or for food are often hit and killed by cars. Visitors are kicked, bitten, and knocked down every year as a direct result of getting too close to the wild horses.
Yep.
We watched a video.
It sure did.
Where several horses approached people on the beach. This one particular woman decided to push a horse. Now, she was pushing him from the side, but she decided to push a horse away when he was determined to check out what was in her bag.
Yep. Which to be fair, was under her umbrella. Yes. But still,
you can't do that. They tell you to make sure it's in a zippered bag. They tell you, even if it's a cooler, to make sure that the cooler has a strap on it you can close.
Because they will nudge
they can nudge you to get into the cooler. They're not stupid animals.
No,
they know how to do things.
Yeah.
She pushed this horse away. This horse kicked her in the leg.
Probably broke her leg, to be honest.
She possibly did.
It didn't say in the video what happened to her afterwards, and it was like 11 years ago. But yeah, from the force of the kick in that video that we watched, I would almost put money that horse broke that woman's leg.
It wouldn't surprise me.
But she had it coming. If you want my opinion, she had it coming. She antagonized the horse. and they have people out there to tell you.
Yeah, they have park rangers,
Park
for
rangers,
better way to put it.
Yeah.
To tell that remind you, do not, they say to stay at least a bus length
40
away,
feet.
40 feet
40 feet.
away from the horses.
Yeah.
So just keep in mind, treating wild horses like tame animals takes away from the wildness that makes them special. Protect your family by respecting theirs. Give the horses the space they need to be wild.
Mm-hmm.
So there's our little safety disclaimer.
I mean, it's great to. I mean, I've been out. Chincoteague and Assateague, the two islands are one of my most favorite places in the entire state. Now, granted, I haven't been out there in about 10 years, but there was a time not so very long ago, because 10 years really isn't that long ago, when I was making probably 2 trips a month out there.
Mm-hmm.
That was when Colonna's mom and I were together. She loved it out there, so we would go out there, and this was during the off season. We'd go out there and we'd rent a room or whatever and hang out on the island.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, Blaine. He says just don't. Mm-hmm. With the wild ones, you'll live longer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it, to me, there's a lot of natural beauty that is on these two islands. Now, I will say that Chincoteague is more commercialized, if you will.
People live there,
right? People live, but that's
so Assateague is more natural,
right? But it's still got a very small hometown feel to it. And there is a fantastic, I cannot remember the name of the restaurant. But
if you drove by it,
I know it in a heartbeat. It's an Italian place. And they have fantastic food. If you ever get out there, and there's only one Italian restaurant on the island, so you're not going to get it confused with
the 50 others.
50 others, because there's not, they're not there. This one place is it's on Maddox Drive, which is the main drag. There are some side roads that are more like dirt trails. But, I absolutely love Assateague and Chincoteague. In fact, the thumbnail for this video was from the last visit that I took out there.
Yes, Mutt did take that photo himself.
Yes. Along with about 100 others. So yeah,
now for anyone who's out in the area or happens to make the trip to the area and would like to visit, if going to the Maryland side, the hours of operation are 7 a.m. to sunset. Highly recommend getting there as early as possible because that line will get long quick.
Now, and you're talking mostly in the summertime.
Yeah,
those are summer. That's the summertime.
And the summertime hours, or not hours, fee is quite a bit more. The Memorial Day weekend through Labor Day price is $5 per person.
Yeah.
If you go after Labor Day to Memorial Weekend, it's $5 per vehicle.
Yeah, that's why we always went in we'd go in the early fall, and it was only they charged us per car.
Now, if you go to the Virginia side, a private vehicle is $25.
They've gone up on that.
These are I was going to say, I just got these prices.
Is that the summertime hour?
That just says that's a standard price.
Really? Standard
entrance price.
Wow. Okay, they've definitely gone up on that.
That gives you a 7-day vehicle pass.
Oh, okay.
A motorcycle is $20. And Then I've got some of the history of the penny pony.
Thank you, Joe Biden, for increasing the gas prices, which is probably why they're increasing the price of the entry fee. I digress.
Oh, he's looking for more money on the federal.
Of course he is.
So from here, I go into the history of the pony penny. Is there anything you would like to add before we go into the history?
I am going to just give a little brief rundown here. I'm going to specifically talk about Assateague. Like I said, the herd size is limited to 150 ponies to protect, as you pointed out, protect the natural resources. The 99th, as I said earlier, is on the 2024. I'm just hitting the highlights. Assateague is 37 miles long and is split, as we've already pointed out, between Virginia and Maryland.
But the park or parks that you want,
It's 3 separate parks, actually.
but where the ponies are,
Right.
where these specific ponies are that we're looking at, is not the entire.
No. There are no year-round residents on Assateague, as I pointed out. The island has a land area of 24.4 square miles, 63 kilometers, and as I said, has no year-round residents, though a few retained property rights until 2006. These were mainly hunting camps, and then it reverted back to the wildlife. It reverted back to the state government. The island consists of these public areas: the Assateague Island National Seashore, managed by the National Park Service; the Assateague State Park, managed by the Maryland Park Service of the Department of Natural Resources; and the Chincoteague National Wildlife Refuge, managed by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Those are the 3 separate on Assateague.
What was the second one you mentioned?
The second one, the Assateague State Park, which is managed by the Maryland Park Service and the Department of Natural Resources.
I'm confused.
Why?
Because Maryland's part of where the ponies are is managed by the National Park.
That's what I just said. Maryland Park Service of the Department of Natural Resources.
Not the DNR, National Park Service.
That's the first one. That's the
shoreline.
Assateague National Seashore.
That's the seashore.
Right.
That's where the ponies are?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's where the ponies are. That's why you will find them quite often swimming. You can catch them out in the ocean taking a dip on really hot days.
Sure, we did see them.
I have yet to catch a picture of that personally. That is on my bucket list. I will, before I die, get a photograph.
We did see on one of the videos we watched, there were a group of horses on the beach among the families of people on the beach. And this one particular foal decided to lay down for a nap in amongst the people's belongings.
Well, that was a foal.
I said a foal.
Oh, you did? Okay, I didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I said a foal.
Yeah, and Mama and Daddy were standing off. Mom and Daddy were standing off to the side.
Yeah,
I remember that.
I just thought that was cute.
Assateague, the word Assateague actually is a Native American. It's an indigenous word meaning a swift moving water, and they were from the Algonquin people speaking the Nanacoke language, who historically lived on the Atlantic coast side of the Delmarva Peninsula. Now, for those of you who don't know the Delmarva Peninsula, that is a peninsula that, as the name states, Kind of runs between Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia, and part of Pennsylvania. I'm not quite sure how that works. No, I'm sorry. That part's not. The colonial period as was known as the eastern shore of Maryland and Virginia, and the lower counties of Pennsylvania. And so it does run. Yeah, the peninsula does run. That is definitely the driver. As I said earlier, the Chincoteague, as of 2022, had a population of 3,300 people. The island has a total area of 37.3 square miles, so it's not that big an island. The island is about 8 miles long and 2 miles wide. Kind of reminds me of Tangier, which is sinking into the ocean, although Tangier is not nearly as long as Chincoteague.
Mac, that is wild that you still feed a horse that can trace their line back to the Secretariat. That is cool.
So, yeah, also as the Chincoteague ponies are also known as Assateague horses. And as I said earlier, is a breed that was developed and now lives within the semi-feral or feral population on the island of Assateague in the United States. On the Virginia Maryland line. The Chincoteague pony is one of the many breeds of feral horses in the United States. Again, and I did state that earlier, but it doesn't give me an exact number. I wish it had given me an exact number, but I think it would be kind of hard to do.
Well, maybe those Colorado Mustangs are feral.
Yeah, pretty sure they are. Now, you were going to do the pony penning, you said?
Right. I've got some history on the pony penning.
Okay.
The penning began as a way for livestock owners to claim, brand, break, and harness their loose herds. By the 1700s, it had become an annual event, complete with drinking, eating, and plenty of revelry by the entire community. The earliest known description of pony penning was published in 1835. The practice was then already a quote-unquote ancient custom held in June on Assateague Island. Penning on Chincoteague Island is not mentioned until the mid-1800s, and it's believed to have begun by two islanders who owned large herds that grazed on Chincoteague.
Wonder if I'm related.
What was that?
Wonder if I'm related. Running joke, folks. Running joke.
It doesn't give names, so. The penning continued on both islands for years. By 1885, they were held on Assateague one day and Chincoteague the next. The Assateague also had a sheep penning, which is believed to be a custom even older than the others. Word of the events began to spread, and hotels and boarding houses were booked for the festivities. In 1909, the last Wednesday and Thursday of July were set aside as the official dates for the yearly events. As pony penning increased in population, Assateague's sheep penning wound down and was discontinued by 1914. Now, as for the modern day pennings, as a string of disastrous fires in the town of Chincoteague, the villagers realized their firefighting equipment was seriously inadequate. In 1925, the town authorized the Chincoteague Volunteer Fire Department to hold a carnival during the pony penning to raise funds. That year, over 15 colts were sold to benefit the fire company, and the carnival was a huge success. Bolstered by the interest in the pony swim, visitors began arriving from across the country for the annual convention. The crowd in 1937 was estimated at 25,000. The increased revenue from the carnivals and auctions enabled the fire company to modernize its equipment and facilities, and in 1947 it began to build its own herd by purchasing ponies from local owners. They moved the herd to Assateague, where the government allowed publicly owned, not private, herds to graze on the newly established Chincoteague National Wildlife Refuge. That same year, 1947, Marguerite Henry published Misty of Chincoteague. The story made pony petting internationally famous. Mm-hmm. A movie followed, as it did several sequel books. The Tale of the Wild Pony Phantom, her full Misty, and the children who buy and raise her have become a classic, still enjoyed by each new generation. Pony petting is still held in July during the Chincoteague Volunteer Firemen's Carnival. Saltwater cowboys herd the horses across the narrowest part of Assateague Channel at low tide, after which they are examined by veterinarians. After a resting period, they are herded through town to a corral at the carnival grounds, where they stay until the next day's auction.
They walk them down Maddox.
The pony auction not only provides a source of revenue for the fire company, but it also serves to trim the herd's numbers. To retain the permit to graze on the refuge, the herd must not exceed 150 horses. Each year, thousands of people flock to Chincoteague Island to watch the pony penning and enjoy the Fireman's Carnival. For many of them, the trek to the shores of Assateague Island on the last Wednesday and Thursday of July has become an annual event, an opportunity to participate in a tradition older than the country itself. There is actually a website that I have a link to that is the Pony Swim Guide. If anyone would like that,
we can actually put that link down in the.
And then I have some more information about the ponies and stuff. Is there anything you would like to add before I dive into that?
Go for it.
We have mentioned that the Chincoteague pony became an official registered breed. That actually happened in 1994.
Oh, so they didn't even become a recognized breed until 94.
No.
Wow.
The average height of a Chincoteague pony is between 12 and 13 hands. Any horse that stands less than 14 hands is considered a pony. Chincoteague ponies are stocky with short legs, thick manes, and large round bellies. Assateague Island is a harsh environment for the ponies, and their diet is limited. Like we've discussed, they adapt to a limited environment over hundreds of years. They've lived on Assateague. They primarily eat saltwater cord grass that grows in the marshes of the island. They eat almost all day just to get enough nutrition from this diet to sustain themselves.
Yep. You're always going to catch them grazing.
The salt content of the cord grass is very high. To compensate for all the salt in the cord grass, they drink twice as much water as a normal horse, which is why their bellies appear so bloated. The wild ponies on Assateague Island congregate in small groups called bands. Each band has one dominant stallion, and the rest are mares that the stallion breeds with. The number of mares a particular stallion has in his band is dependent upon how dominant the stallion is. How dominant the stallion is. The stronger the stallion, the more mares he is able to win when fighting other stallions on the island. The dominant stallion will kick his male offspring out of the band after a couple of years. once the colt has reached sexual maturity. Young bachelor males tend to form their own small bands until they become big and strong enough to begin fighting for and winning mares from other stallions. Likewise, female offspring are eventually chased off by their mother to prevent inbreeding. On average, around 70 foals are born every spring. On the Virginia side of Assateague Island, approximately 75% of the mature males have foals each year, a relatively high foaling rate for wild horses. A mare can become pregnant once her foal has stopped nursing, and within an 11-month gestational period, many of the mares are pregnant almost year-round. The Chincoteague Fire Company, volunteer fire company, who owns and manages the herd, maintains the herd size at about 150 adult ponies. The fire company controls the size of the herd by auctioning off most of the foals at the annual pony auction in July. Each year, just a few select foals are designated as buybacks. A buyback pony is auctioned with the stipulation that it will be donated back to the fire company and returned to Assateague Island to replenish the herd. The winner of a buyback pony gets to name the pony before it is returned to Assateague Island to live out its life there. Buyback ponies have actually become some of the highest priced foals sold at the auction. The state park of the Assateague Island National Seashore in Maryland have both campgrounds, and they're suitable for any level of camper. The majority of the camping is pretty easy for folks who are new to camping, Baldwin says. Not sure who Baldwin is off the top of my head. The state park has bathhouses with hot and cold running water throughout and flush toilets. The national park doesn't have flush toilets, but it does have facility in close proximity to the campsites. Keep in mind that camping is very popular, especially in the height of summer, and you'll want to consider booking as soon as booking opens, about a year in advance for the state parks and 6 months in advance for the national seashore. When you are, they actually have a Pony Express nature cruise.
Yeah, I think that was the sunset cruise that we were looking at.
I don't know if it's a sunset cruise, but I thought this was very interesting. It says, when you are on Assateague Explorer's Pony Express nature cruise, you visit the areas where you have the greatest chance of seeing wild ponies on your vacation. Departs from Chincoteague Island, Virginia, located next to the beautiful southern part of Assateague and Wildlife Refuge. Assateague ponies are unique and have lived in solitude over 400 years. Different bands of horses are dispersed along the island. Ponies that live in the Virginia half of Assateague bear about 60 to 80 foals each summer. Besides the legendary wild ponies, this place is also known for excellent bird watching.
Yeah, that is the truth. And that's Dad used to go over there all the time.
They said they see bald eagles almost every day.
Yep.
They said dolphins love the area and are frequently seen during summer and early fall. Over 300 wild ponies live along 40,000 acres of Assateague Island, and often few of these wild ponies can be seen from the road by visitors on vacation. Assateague's main road has miles of fence placed by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, which keeps the wild ponies far back in their natural habitat. The pony watching cruise takes you to Assateague's most beautiful areas where over 150 wild ponies live. Assateague Island is an unspoiled, vast ecosystem of forest, wetlands, beaches, and calm waterways. They actually have several tour photos and videos. Assateague wild ponies thrive along Assateague's extensive 37-mile tranquil western shoreline of bays, secluded creeks, and pine forests. Assateague ponies are found feeding on salt marsh cordgrass, and this grass attracts them to many shoreline areas along the island's shoreline, where we find bands of wild horses. Wild horses and wildlife can appear at the time.
Yep. Well, it's wild, so yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, I will say one of the interesting things about over there is one of the things that people do over there, besides look at the horses, is they will go over to fly kites quite often. I'm surprised they haven't moved the international kite flying contest to Assateague, because there is a constant sea breeze that comes in off the water, and I can remember taking the kids, who are now 22 and 25, over there.
I think 22 and 26.
He's not 26 yet. He'll be 20. He won't be 26 till February. I
remember seeing the movie Seabiscuit, Matt.
And yeah, they that was where they first flew their first kites, was over on Assateague.
Mm.
And yes, somewhere amongst my trove of pictures is a picture of my big butt trying to get this kite up into the air. Yeah. Anyway, which is kind of amusing. But so yeah, I do have a lot of fond family memories of being over there as well. That was one of our favorite vacations.
Even, like I said, we would not be doing the
we're gonna
be running, but I do want to go.
Absolutely. I want to take you over there. I want to take you over there myself. I have never been to the top of the Assateague Lighthouse.
I've been up to the top of Hatteras.
I've never been up to the top of Hatteras. And Hatteras is actually taller, I believe, than the Assateague. Yes. I believe.
Assateague or Chicken?
It's on Assateague.
Okay.
It's on Assateague. Definitely on Assateague. And yeah, I've been part of the way up and said, nope, we're done. Because they've got like 7 flights. It's 7 separate flights to get to the top. And each one consists of about 20 steps. So you do the math.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you're definitely climbing stairs. I'm not up to that right now, not yet. But
they need a bench on each of the.
I see. I 100%. I'm down with that. I think when we go, we should stop at the fire department and suggest they put.
We need to take the collapsible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that, you know what, we should go to the fire department, tell them they need to donate a bench for each flight, per each landing, and one of those benches should be named for you and I. I'm just saying that I should start a petition.
You're all about petitions today, aren't you?
I am. We won't talk about the other one on
we won't.
Not on this show. If you want to see that, you'll have to subscribe to my Rumble. You'll have to subscribe to my Rumble. I have a under the Mutts American Mosaic. I have a channel, because you can break it up into channels under the main channel titled Mutts Views. If you want my opinion on what she's talking about that we won't talk about here, you'll have to go to there. But anyway, I think it would be really kind of a funny thing to walk into the fire department. Excuse me, can I speak to the chief? Yeah, look, obviously I'm fat and old.
A 747 model kite. I say we get him a kite that's the model of the Wright brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think they have. I think they have those.
They wouldn't. That wouldn't surprise me.
I think they have
you live
those.
how close to Kitty Hawk?
It takes about an hour. For about an hour from Kitty Hawk. In fact, if you look on our channel,
We have the
video that I
video.
took before you moved back
Right.
down here. Yeah, Alex, the faceless roommate and I went and we checked it out. So yeah, Kitty Hawk is there. They do have the actual flight path.
They have that
Marked
propeller.
Huh?
They have that propeller.
Yeah, the propellers are over 100 years old. Yes. There are pictures. I have pictures of that propeller. If you look, I believe in the playlist under the Kitty Hawk, you'll also find that picture as well. It is encased in a glass tube.
Yes.
To protect it from the elements. They also have a mock-up.
And for people touching it.
Huh?
And for people touching
Yeah,
it.
and they also have a mock-up, an actual one-to-one mock-up of the original glider. So yes, Mac, you make jokes, but send me your address. I will find you a kite that looks like the Wright brothers, and I will send that to you. But I want videos of you flying it afterwards. And permission to post that video. I didn't have anything else on there.
Why do I feel like I've been doing all the
You did a little bit more research on this one than I did. I can say that the odds of you seeing horses, while they are extremely good, there is the possibility that you could go over there and not see narrow horse. We've had occasions where that has happened. You got to remember, these are wild horses.
He says, sorry, old man, just joking.
Not
Admit it, Mac. You just want to see him try to fly it.
not happening. Well, wait a minute. You know what? Maybe. We'll go to Mount Trashmore. I probably
You don't want to try it down at the beach?
Nah, too crowded. But yeah,
Yeah, well, I still need to get my swimsuit, and we have to go down to the beach.
I know. She
Actually, better yet, you can buy me my swimsuit.
No, because you won't let me buy you the swimsuit I want to buy you.
Show it to me.
No, see, that's what I get. Show it to me.
I just said, show it to me. You never know. I have worn two pieces before.
Brown chicken, brown cow. Anyway, what is next week's show going to consist of?
Well, we have 3 choices.
Yep. And we have 3 people, so I would love to hear from you all. We're going to give you the 3 choices.
We have the USS Wisconsin, the USS Virginia, and we have Tragic Jack, one of the founding fathers of Phoenix.
I personally am kind of feeling Tragic Jack. Personally. And there is very good reason why they call him Tragic Jack. But we will leave that to you all. Like I said,
there are some tragic circumstances that befell the man. Yes.
He came by the name Tragic Jack.
Honestly.
Very honestly, sadly. If y'all leave it up to us, we're probably going to quibble about it. So I really need to hear from you all what you all would like for us to. I will say the USS Wisconsin is
here
locally.
The funny thing about the Wisconsin,
yes,
to me at least,
yes,
is I remember being in a large town, shall we say, not far from Madison,
Madison,
Wisconsin.
There you go.
And reading, I believe it was the Madison newspaper,
Mm-hmm.
and seeing the article saying that they were bringing the Wisconsin in to downtown.
Downtown Norfolk.
Yeah.
Okay.
And thinking, oh, that is so cool, but I'll never get a chance to see it. And then I moved here.
And that was one of the first places you visited?
Actually, I remember, no, it wasn't one of the first places. Well, the first museums, yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember the then boyfriend driving me downtown to the ship head on. And I knew they were big, but I didn't realize how big.
Yes, they're huge.
He had to pick my jaw up off
The ground?
car, the floor of the car.
Yeah, they're not small. They're
No.
not small, no. Yeah, they do a lot of, well, I don't know if they still do it off of Kill Devil Hill or not. They're in North Carolina. They do a lot of hang gliding, or did do, when I was a kid, did do a lot of hang gliding off of the dune out there. I'm not leaving the ground, so no. But I commend those who tried their hand at
I had somebody
hang
that wanted
gliding,
me,
but
I had somebody that wanted me to bungee jump. I finally looked at him and said, if my doctor will, just to shut him up, because I knew what my doctor would say. I finally looked at him and said, if my doctor says it's okay, I'll do it. I went to my doctor, came home. My doctor says no way in hell.
yeah, I probably
It's too bad on my back, too bad on my knees. Nope.
yeah.
He never bothered to ask me again.
You watched them with a telescope. Mrs. Mutt bought me a small telescopic lens, and we played with it a little bit. I'm still trying to. I still need to tinker with it some. Yeah, I still need to kind of get the hang.
Excuse me.
Well, darn,
Thank you,
Mac.
Matt.
Yes, she was gorgeous. She was absolutely gorgeous on our wedding day. For those of you who don't know, who may catch us, who may catch this stream later, and again, for those of you who may not know, Mrs. Mutt and I were married on the 16th of June of this year, which also happened to be Father's Day.
It was my grandmother, my maternal grandmother's birthday. And I lost her when I was very young. So that day was important to me.
So yeah. So there's that. What do you say, since nobody is giving us a vote, we do Tragic Jack?
That's fine. I won't argue.
We watched a thing on
It was
YouTube.
on Paranormal Files.
It was on a channel called Paranormal Files on YouTube, and they were talking about the Superstition Mountains, and there was a guide who
Corey.
Yeah, it was
one of the two.
I think it was Corey.
He was giving some of the history and
Phoenix.
Background of the Superstition Mountains, and he touched on Tragic Jack, who was one of the co-founders of the city of Phoenix.
Phoenix, yes.
That's all the further I want to go.
Right.
Because we want to keep everything.
And it is, yeah, his demise and subsequent burial.
And
subsequent burial is what really struck me. Not going to go any more detail than that. Don't want to give it away. But yeah, that was brutal. And that's all I'll say about it. But yeah, so next week we will be discussing. There we go. Tragic Jack, one of the co-founders of
Phoenix,
the city
Arizona.
of Phoenix, Arizona. One
I
of the
don't have a
cats,
feeling they're knocking down broken down boxes.
probably. Again, anybody want a cat?
Yeah.
We got 3 to spare. We love our cats, but we really can't. Yeah.
Mac, we got a tiger stripe. It's got your name on it.
You can't have Beansy, Mac. Sorry. But yeah.
We'll give you, or you can have 2 solid black babies. They're twins.
Yep.
One's a boy and one's a girl.
Fenrir and Hella. Trust me, he knows who our cats are. He watches all of our cat videos. He wants Abby. You know what? I'm about half tempted to give you Abby. She's a hot mess, that one. I'm kidding. I would never.
I caught her on the dryer this morning. She tried to run away going forward, and I blocked her path. She tried to back up out of my reach. I blocked her from behind. She just looked at me like, "Oh, you mean I got to deal with kisses and loves from you, woman?"
Is that why she ran from me this morning when I tried to give her some milk? Silly cat.
That's probably after you tried to give her milk.
Probably. Well, maybe. I don't know.
Because that was when I got up this morning.
Oh yeah, then it was definitely. Yeah, that was yours was definitely after mine. So yeah, folks, we are going to be looking at Mr. Tragic Jack.
One of the first things we'll have to do is find out his last name because I don't remember what it was.
Hope you all have enjoyed this. If you have, please, because it does help get the video out to more people. Hit the like button.
Angel, if you're in here,
feel
and
free
we
to
can't see your
share it.
chat. By all means, feel free to call me when we get done.
Oh, I didn't put it on. I didn't. Yeah. I don't know why we would be able to see her chats. But
She, for some reason, when she's been in here, we haven't been able to see her chats. She has been able to pop up in the screen.
Yeah. She did that last week.
Right. But we haven't seen when she sent us a message in the chat.
I don't know why. Anyway, gang, we truly hope you enjoyed the show. I'm looking forward to next week's show. I fell in love with Phoenix. After it almost killed me the first night. That's a whole nother story. But until then, we will see you all next week on the same bat time, same bat channel. For those of you who are pirates, I encourage you, and I think there might still be 1 or 2 of you in here. I encourage you to go check out the challenge that I gave Red Mama.
Challenging Red Mama. I'm scared.
The lip sync challenge.
Oh.
Okay. Yes.
Maybe that doesn't scare me so much.
It's a lip sync challenge. That's what I was doing when you came in earlier. I was setting that up. So yes. Till then, y'all take care of yourselves and each other.
Have a great night, guys.
We love you guys.
Week.
And we want you all to be here next week when we come back. So please.
We love you all.
And we appreciate each and every one of you. We really do. You know what? Tell a friend. Get them to subscribe.
Oh, I'm sorry your puppy's sick, Mac.
Is it the 4th yet? I think I got started early. Pass on the black cat. Got a sick pup. Okay.
Well,
all right.
Come get the tiger.
Yeah, come get Valley.
Bonnie.
Come get Valley.
Sweetest to me. He's been curling up on Mutts' shoulder and going to sleep. He's a cuddler.
Yeah, he's a big time cuddler. I joked with her that
You picked up the wrong cat.
I picked out the wrong cat. I just don't. I'm not a big tabby fan, but this tabby has found that it absolutely loves to sit on my shoulder and go to sleep, which is I absolutely love that. I'm just not a big tabby fan. I'm a tortie fan. I'm a calico fan. I'm a black cat fan, and I'm a solid or blue fan. But I'm just not a. But
yeah, but he's still love Loki, even though he's a.
Yeah, he's a big. He's
a fluff ball.
He's a big giant fluff ball, and he's so dark he's almost black. And which is probably what Volley's going to end up doing. But anyway, okay, gang, we are seriously just rambling now, so we're going to.
Actually, Mac.
Yeah.
I wanted to, just in case you're interested, the other gray that was adopted.
Yes.
Jormungandr. We have found out that his new family has named him. They have named him Broderick.
I think Jormungandr was a cooler name, but yeah.
Yeah, I think Tragic Jack will be a good one.
I think you're right, Mac. Yeah. You see what I almost did there? I think you're right. All right, gang. For the third time, good night, everybody.
Thank you. We love you.